someday? Ready to finally start living your best life right now?
You're in the right place. I'm David.
And I'm Wendy.
And this is the David and Wendy podcast. We're your life coaches here to move you from the excuses to action.
From mastering your mindset to finding real joy, we're keeping it real, raw, and maybe just a little ridiculous.
Let's get into it, Wendy.
Let's go, David.
Welcome back to the David and Wendy podcast. We're so glad you are here. Whether you're coming back or joining us for the first time, welcome. This week we are discussing how a life coach can benefit and help you.
Yeah, so we are talking about life coaches and how they can help you. And we thought to get started, we would clarify the difference between a therapist and a life coach. So a therapist is someone who focuses on healing the past. They deal with mental health conditions, and they help you to get to the point where you're functional. A lot of times a person will need a therapist when they've gone through some sort of major trauma or something that they're going through might be episodic. A life coach focuses on the present and the future, and more like goals and habits and mindset, motivation and direction.
Right. And for a quick imperfect analogy, it's kind of like an airplane, right? Before an airplane can take off, it works with one set of people in the hangar. And then when it's ready to fly, it works with another set, right? You have the pilots and the stewards. I forget what they call them nowadays. Anyway, so a therapist is, the way I say it is, a therapist helps bring you back to zero. Mm-hmm. In other words, lesson zero, you're focused on whatever your trauma was.
Yes.
And trying to resolve that. When that feels resolved, at some point you're going to feel like you can actually look forward, because typically during that it's hard to look forward, or you have a negative view of looking forward.
Right.
So the life coach comes in when you're ready to look forward in an inspired way, like, oh, things can be different. Mm-hmm. And that's where life coach comes in.
Absolutely, David. And it's important to note too, there can be overlap. It's not like cut and dry or black and white.
Sure. Yeah.
Sometimes in a coaching situation, past trauma may come up, but that's not the focus. It might just be a reference to it. And just the same where a therapist sometimes does work on goal setting. So there is overlap. And it's also an important thing to note that therapists need therapists themselves, and coaches need coaches and mentors them also. And there's overlap as far as like coaches sometimes need a therapist, and therapists will work with coaches. So it's not like a cut and dry and to think that somebody who might need a therapist can't work with a coach, or vice versa.
No,
I think it depends on where you're at.
Yes. It's not like walking through a door. It's like you're in one room and then you move into the other room. That is not it.
Exactly. So a life coach, the other thing that we want to reiterate here is that no matter what you're going through, these are all ways to help you get from one point to another. Whether it be a therapist, obviously you might need to get, like David said, to that zero, or I call it ground zero, be at a place where you can move forward. And same with, you might be stuck in your life, right? But it's not a case of trauma or where you might need a therapist, but you need somebody to help you. You don't have to do these things alone. So ways that a coach can benefit and help you are, I kind of already talked about it, but basically a coach will help you transition from where you're at to where you would like to be or you dream of being. And I know in my certification for coaching, they talked about all areas of our life fall into one of the four quadrants. So like health and well-being, relationships, vocation or your job or career, and then freedom, which can, relate to time and money. Um, so that's the kind of the purpose of a life coach, why often people seek one. And when you're working with a life coach, you're typically focused on goal setting, mind setting. You make a list of. You heard me say that a coach will help you transition from where you're at to where you want to go. So it's making a list of things that you enjoy doing, or you would like to be doing. Um, what would make you look forward or get you excited about waking up in the morning? When you get out of bed, what would put that smile on your face immediately or get you to just jump up because you're so excited about life? Those are the sorts of things that coaching often will help with.
Right, right. It's when you're ready to look forward and you get excited about looking forward to the possibility, even if in some circumstances people go, "Oh yeah, that would be great. I don't ever see that happening, but that would be great."
Mhm.
Then that's a good time to look for a coach, because a coach can actually help you think outside of your personal box. I like to call it your box of limitations, your limited ideas and visions.
Mhm.
Um, the box is just created by your thoughts, beliefs, and expectations of your current programming. The coach helps you look outside that box and uh, actually see the forest in addition to the trees, as the saying goes.
Yeah.
The coach helps you remember it. The coach will help you um, re-energize you. If you ever had, you ever, even with therapy, and it kind of works in the same way with therapy, right? You see the therapist, and then you walk out and you're feeling good to some degree, relative to probably, hopefully, when you came in. And then as the week goes on, you start to everything starts to broaden out, and you start to maybe feel slip limit. And it's like, oh, I got to go talk to my therapist, or
Mhm.
in this case, my coach. And your coach can, as the therapist does, kind of clarify your thinking, help you clarify your thinking, and they reignite that excitement about getting you moving towards your goal, or towards your, what I also refer to as what your be, do, or have.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, something that just came up for me, David, is listening to you. I think about therapy often is the emotions around it, right? I think there's a different set of
Sure.
emotions, not always, but with therapy, there's more. I don't want to say negative, but the feelings of maybe despair or something I really need to want to work through to, like you said, get at a ground level. Where coaching is typically something where it energizes you. You want to move forward. You're just not sure how. And that coach really helps you align your belief system with where it is you want to be. And then you're all of a sudden excited, right? So, um, yeah, that's this.
Yeah, you can be excited even when you, again, even when you don't see how it could happen, or think it's possible even.
Right.
uh, the coach can help you work through that and help you see how it could be possible, and how it could happen. And where the repeated, once a week support is, because you can fall back into your old programming, be misled by your old programming over
Yeah.
the week, and come back and say, help.
Exactly, and I know amongst us coaches, a lot of times, we've talked to make sustainable, transformations. It really needs to be a weekly thing for several months, because we often do. We all do it. We fall naturally back into old patterns or old programming, and it's not always a straightforward path, but that's okay. With practice, it's definitely doable. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. And that's the thing. It can take some time,
Hmm.
because the you literally, the programming you have now, everything that you operate with day to day, was programmed with repetition over time.
Yes.
So you probably don't remember how all of your programming came to you, unless the traditional saying of, put your hand on the you only put your hand on the stove, hot stove, once, right?
Right, right.
That's a quick learning.
Yeah.
uh, but what it leaves in place is, it can leave in place a program that, especially if it's done when you're young, stoves are scary.
Mhm.
And which can, in adulthood, can create stuff like, I don't want to cook, I don't know how to cook, I don't know how to work that thing.
Mhm.
I
Right.
mean, in an extreme case.
Yeah.
So that's how your programming can evolve, and be in control of your life.
Mhm.
And it just takes time to repetitiously go through a new program and make it new.
Absolutely.
Try tying your shoes in the opposite direction,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Not easy.
Not easy until you keep doing it. And
Right.
as you keep doing it, it actually becomes, I was doing that and I actually forgot how to do it. I had to kind of refigure out how to do it the original way that I've been doing for all this time. So it's a programming is very subtle,
Mhm.
and but it's changeable.
It is, it is. So I think, the next thing we want to talk about, which is I'm sure many people are wondering, how do you choose a coach, right? Well, it's very similar as how you would choose a counselor. It really needs to be somebody you're going to connect with. And oftentimes coaches will hold, like some sort of a consultation, an initial consultation, and it's really for both of you. You're kind of interviewing them, seeing if you would connect. They're because let's face it, we all aren't meant to work with each other. We all have little idiosyncrasies or just the ways that we operate. So it's okay to quote unquote interview, or do those consultations where you can decide if this coach is right for me. But I think it's also worthy to know it's got to be someplace where you feel safe. There's potential for growth, even if you don't see it. Are they optimistic that you can work through wherever it is that you're trying to get to, and that they're good listeners. A good coach, just like a therapist, is going to do a lot of listening, and just absorbing what you're saying without just not interrupting you to give their point of view. That's not to say they won't offer ideas or resources or ways that may be able to help you, but you really ultimately you've got to connect with that person, and yeah, somebody that's going to bring out the best in you. I often say, David, when I'm working with clients, is the answers. I'm not going to give you the answers. The answers are all within you. What
Right,
I'm
right.
doing as a coach is helping you to see that. It's we all need somebody on the outside to see, um, like where it is that you can go next, or what resources might help you. And it's just helping you to identify what's already inside of you, basically. So, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And one of the most important things that I can add to that, Wendy, is that you want to feel you do want to feel safe,
Hmm.
because you're the way through growth is the way through your fears. And that's where you're going to have to be vulnerable. So if you don't feel like you can be
Absolutely.
potentially vulnerable with this coach, just like a counselor, a therapist, same thing. If you can't feel safe to open up, if they don't hold a safe space for you, then uh, you're not going to have the same level of growth.
Absolutely. Yes. That you have to be able to be vulnerable with them, and be able to open up, and making sure that you feel heard. Yeah. Thank you, David, for pointing that out, because that is so important. That's a very important piece. So,
Yeah, that's the magic that makes it work. So, well, this brings us to our next topic for next week, which is self-talk. What does it say? All right, that's the show for this week. We hope you are feeling motivated like you're ready to take on the world.
If you got value today, do us a huge favor. Like and subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us reach more people just like you.
You can find all our info in the show notes and connect with us at our website, thedavidandwendypodcast.com.
We'll see you next week. And remember, always be kind, loving, and compassionate to everyone you meet.